Morning, everybody. Miss Winfield here, ready for today's English. So, before we start, let's just rewind, okay, to yesterday when we innovated the middle of the traditional tale. So, remember, innovate just means the tweaks and the changes that we've made, okay, to create a new idea. So, yesterday we looked at plot points 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and in plot point 4 in the original story, the wolf had an idea. Now, I didn't have a wolf in my story, did I? Let's do a quick rewind of mine. I had the massive, mean mammoth, and he had an idea. Okay, so that's where I've drawn my innovated point of the story. What did you do for your innovated plot point 4? Can you tell the person next to you? So you wouldn't have had a wolf having an idea. Who had an idea in your story? Who's the baddie? Who's the villain? Super stuff. And in plot point 5, the wolf crept to Grandma's house and knocked on the door, and he said, "Oh, hello, Grandma." And he went in, didn't he? Now, I don't have a grandma in my story, but I do have Sonny the Seal. So the massive mean mammoth went to see Sonny the Seal. And I wonder what he did next. Let's think about what the wolf did next to Grandma. He gobbled her up. Goodness me, Sonny's not got much luck, has he? Bless him. Let's remove this box. And the massive mean mammoth gobbled up Sonny the Seal until all that was left was a pile of bones. Goodness me, that sounds a bit sad, but there might be a happy ending. Who knows? Do we know who those bones belong to? Right then, so what we're going to do today on Friday, the 22nd of January, we are going to innovate the end of the story, okay? And we're going to do it by practicing some new learning so we can complete our innovated version of the traditional tale. So today we will have finished our innovation, ready for next week when we start to write our story. We will have our plan in our books ready to use to help us. So now we're going to innovate the end of the tale. Let me just zoom in a little bit. There we go, that's a bit better. So we can see we are working with plot points 7, 8, and 9, okay? And in the original plot point 7, the Little Red Riding Hood goes up to Grandma's bed and she says, "Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have." And the wolf replies, "All the better to see you with." And then she says, "Oh, Grandma, what big teeth you have." And then we move on to plot point 8. But let's not race ahead. Let me put this on so we can focus on one plot point at a time. Okay, so I'm going to show you my innovated plot point 7. There we go. So rather than Little Red Riding Hood arriving at Grandma's, little Percy Penguin arrived at Sonny the Seal's. And now Sonny the Seal, he sometimes likes to lay on the snow, but sometimes when he gets a little bit too chilly, he goes into his igloo for a little nap. Okay, so the little Percy Penguin has arrived at Sonny the Seal's igloo. Let's look at plot point 8. So the original one, Little Red Riding Hood has just said, "Oh, Grandma, what big teeth you have." And with that, the wolf has jumped out of bed and tried to get Little Red Riding Hood. So I'm going to show you my plot points 8. Here we go. You can see the massive mean mammoth. He has jumped out of the igloo and the igloo has exploded because the mammoth was hiding in there and he was so big. Okay, and what he's done, he's grabbed little Percy Penguin and chucked him up in the air. Goodness gracious me. And all of these red bits and brown bits around is all the crumbly bits from the igloo bursting out. So I've used my imagination, okay? And at the moment, little Percy Penguin is in the air. Because at this stage, little Percy Penguin could see something. He could see the trunk hanging out of the door. And little Percy Penguin said, "Oh, Sonny, what a long trunk you have." And then the massive mean mammoth said, "All the better to get you with." And he flew him up in the air. Goodness me, I wonder what's going to happen next. Well, in the original story, we know that the woodcutter arrived and saved the day, and he even managed to get Grandma out of the wolf's tummy. Goodness me. So Grandma was alive, and Little Red Riding Hood was saved. And we know that the wolf was made to say sorry, and he was never seen again. So I wonder what my innovation could be. Let's find out. Here we go. So I don't have a woodcutter in my story. I have Graham, the great polar bear. And Graham has arrived and he's saved little Percy Penguin, and he's even managed to save Sonny the seal, because I'm going to tell you a secret now. Sonny the seal wasn't eaten, okay? The massive mean mammoth ended up eating Sonny the seal's tea out of the freezer. So those bones, they were a fish that was in the freezer for Sonny's tea. And Sonny managed to trick the mammoth by giving him the fish, making him think that he had eaten him instead. I'm so glad Sonny the seal is alive. I was getting worried. So Graham, the great polar bear, the top of the food chain, has arrived, and he has saved little Percy Penguin, and he's saved Sonny the seal, and he has sent the massive mean mammoth on his way. And you can see the massive mean mammoth stomping off. He's got his head down because he's sad, and he's stomping off, never to be seen again. So I think this was my favourite part of the story to innovate, because I really loved getting creative, especially with plot point 8, because I thought, oh, the massive mean mammoth can't jump out of bed because they don't have beds in Sonny the Seal's habitat. He has an igloo. So I had to really think about how creative I was going to be. And I really, really enjoyed it. So now that leads us on to your turn. Okay, so you can split your book into 6 boxes like you have done, and you can write original plot points 7, 8, and 9 along the top, and then innovated plot points 7, 8, and 9 along the bottom. Okay, and what you're going to do, I'm just going to use this. Okay, you're going to draw the original plot points, and if you've forgotten them, you can pause this video, or you can look back in your books where you did the sequencing activity. Okay, so you've got Little Red Riding Hood coming in and saying to Grandma, "Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have!" And then the wolf dives out of bed, tries to get hold of Little Red Riding Hood, and then the woodcutter saves the day. And what you're going to do is use your characters, okay, that you've used so far, and use your setting description. Sorry, not setting description. Use your settings that you've created. So, for example, I didn't have a forest, I had Antarctica. Okay, so I used that in my innovations. And then you are going to innovate these 3 plot points. So make sure you pop them on Evidence Me. I can't wait to see them, and have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you all on Monday.